This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. We're calling to order Monterey Select Board, 12:15 PM, October 17th. We have everyone here in Town Hall. The only item of business today is the town meeting warrant. So I think everyone's been spending time with the bylaw proposal.
You pegged pretty much all the ones that I pegged as well.
Yeah.
Before I looked at yours, I was looking at the other one.
And then there's been a couple more things that I noticed, and I wonder if there's a lot of factors going on here, because we have a volunteer committee that's been hard at work for 2 years plus, forget the exact timeline. And a document that's fairly close. I still feel like there's issues to the point of making this a May thing, just to
Okay, talk to me about the issue.
cut it short. So we had this idea of not making any substantive changes, and so the way that we sold it in the cover letter and that we're telling people is that we didn't make any substantive changes. And after seeing some of the changes that were made, I think that are very common sense and clarify the way that we've been operating, I think instead of trying to double down on that we didn't make any changes when we kind of know that we did, we might be better off to say, all right, let's shoot for May, make the common sense changes that reflect the way we do operate, but note them all. So for instance, Agricultural Commission isn't on these bylaws, and so we have a choice. We can either put in the Agricultural Commission.
Do we have one?
No, it's been defunct, it's never been.
Great, so why would we put it in there?
I'm not
Was it
saying
in the
that,
old one? Cause I didn't see it.
yeah,
Oh, it's in that one?
Yeah.
It's in there.
Okay,
I don't-
it's in the
Towards
notes.
it's
I don't-
towards the back of the.
I don't think that we should. I think what we need to do is regroup a little bit and say, it was defunct, it was never formed, let's remove it. But we have to be upfront about that and say, we're removing Agricultural Commission because it was defunct and never formed.
Well, what if we put Agricultural Commission, this is being removed because it is defunct and was never formed and is therefore defunct.
I think that's what we should do, but
Since 2005.
I think it's too big of
Too
a
big of a change?
project.
Okay.
Well, no, that's not the only one, that's just one
You think
example.
annotating it so that it's clear why the changes were made needs more work than is currently there, or that?
Then we can do today. So
Yeah.
there's a couple instances, so library trustees and board of assessors, I think are good additions. And I think we should be thorough and say, in May, here's what we added to reflect the way we operate. Library board of trustees, board of assessors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then here's what we removed because it's entirely defunct. Agricultural Commission, data center, you know the data center bylaw?
Yeah.
That was when
Personnel committee.
Personnel Committee. I think instead of saying we made no changes and coming back in 2 years and removing data center, Agricultural Commission, Personnel Committee that
Do
we're
it in
supposed.
May and have a clear.
Do it in May and say, we
description.
Have a
remove,
list.
we removed these 10 things because they're defunct. We added these 10 things because we've had a library board since 1892. And we
Right.
wanna put it in to reflect, so the more that I've dug into it the past couple of days, the more I've realized, okay,
Yeah,
there
I
were some
fully
common
support
sense
your idea.
changes made here, but right now, we're like trying to strike a balance, because we removed Ag Commission because it's been defunct since forever,
Right.
but so has Personnel Committee. Let's make those common sense changes, but annotate them all. There's another couple that I just feel like I can't rectify today, and I don't know what to do. So under Select Board, and this is something we'll just need to think about and talk to bylaw and talk to town council and just figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Under Section 1 Select Board, the fourth paragraph,
Empowered to appoint, that one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all appointments shall be for a term of 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
But police chief, fire chief, town administrator, I think even gas pipe thing is a 2-year, maybe inspector.
And the 1 year is a problem.
I don't know, we can't put that to
No.
town, and I don't know what to do. I don't know.
Is that currently what's in there, or did they change it to 1 year?
I don't know. So between
It's 1 year.
things
Says 1
like,
year
It's
here.
1 year.
we can't
No, you're
rectify
right.
that today.
No.
I think we tried, it's been the last couple of weeks since last Tuesday's meeting, a week and a half ago. I think we've given our absolute best shot to try to get it through, that's why we posted a meeting today. And I just feel like we're at a crossroads where if we go forward for November, we're just gonna give ourselves a headache.
Okay, I'm gonna make an addendum.
Yeah.
I agree with you, by the way.
Yeah.
You totally have my support. I'm gonna suggest that instead of saying, okay, we'll do it in May and putting it off
Yeah.
till April, we try and keep that date that they were gonna have, it's like October what?
26th,
Which is, and we try and do that between now and then, even if we have to task it up and be clear who was doing what.
Yeah, yeah.
Because part of the reason they ran into some of the problems is that they should have had really clear things like initialed, who was responsible for
Yeah.
what, so that if there was a question, there would be a point person, right? Like,
I think so, I absolutely agree. This is something that now I have a decent amount of time invested in, and so I feel like,
let's get it over that hump
Over.
now while we're clear on what, because if we wait 3 months, we're not gonna.
and I think that's part of what's happened,
I know.
unfortunately, is like there was a committee of people who really put a lot of time into it,
But then too much
but
time
there
lapse.
was too much time. There were some, different people had different responsibilities. I've asked, David and Mari in particular, and Jeff and Stuart, because those are the 4 remaining members at the other meeting, and there was times like, I vaguely remember, but I forget who did that. And so I think I have a list in my mind and some on paper of here's the additions. Here's things that I think we should absolutely delete, data center, personnel, and just double check with town council. And then make a list at the top.
Yep.
Here's our deletions because they've been defunct or it's just outdated. Here's our additions because library trustees, board of assessors have existed
Right.
since any of us were. Library trustees exist before my great grandfather was born.
Also, I would
$12
like to,
annually.
I will reword these so they're more consistent with the other ones, because
Yeah.
they're way different and they're annoying.
Yes, so there's little things
And
like
like,
that.
there's a thing with the chief of police that has terrible wording, there's a few things that I like made recommended changes for, but I'm happy to offer those, and if we're changing, it doesn't change the meaning of it.
Yeah.
It's just changed the way it was expressed, so it doesn't sound improper English and whatever.
I still think to some degree, we should not make any like controversial policy changes,
I agree.
like numbers on quorum, but rather make changes that reflect the way we've operated. So we can say we're adding this in because this is the way the town has operated for 10, 20, 120 years.
Yeah.
There's kind of a gray area there where like, I think we're good to remove ag commission, but we didn't have an appointed historical commission for years, and then we actually went back 2 years ago and appointed one. So there's a gray area where if something's been defunct or we haven't been enforcing it, we might need to have that discussion of, it has been so defunct for so long, we just nix it. In any case, we just come up with a punch list of, here's things we added, here's things we deleted. They should all be very common sense, here's things we changed.
Do we now have 0 operating farms in the Monterey border?
No.
No, we do, we have Dancing
Yes.
Greens Farm,
We have
and I
Gould,
suppose,
Gould Farm.
Gould,
Gould
some
Farm.
small dairy,
it's
and
not
Roger
technically a
cuts
commercial
hay.
operation though, right?
I don't know the difference, but Roger cuts hay, I mean,
Right.
could be a whole
Okay,
business.
the only reason I was gonna say it is like, I'd be okay with our trying to figure out a way to increase the possibility of that, but I don't know if it requires an agricultural commission. I'd be happy to do a little research to find out if actually having an agricultural commission is needed, or like, some type of ad hoc committee that wouldn't have to be a bylaw would be able to serve that purpose, but there might be a reason in Mass state law that having it as an ag commission gives them powers or opportunities that would be useful to have, in which case keeping it would be wise, so I will research
And
that.
I wouldn't even tire yourself out too much, because I feel like even, let's say it were helpful, if we show that it was adopted in 2005 and was never even so much as an appointed,
Right.
never even got to the point of being appointed, or if they got appointed, never held one meeting, I think that's reason enough to say, yeah, this is 20 years of history of the way we've been operating.
We might as well not have
So
it.
even if you find like a sliver of truth to why it might be good to have one, we could still make the judgment call of saying, look, it's been defunct for 20 years.
Oh, I guess what I was saying is, what if we decided we did wanna have
Yeah.
one right now?
Yeah.
The
Then we-
question is, A, does it need to be a bylaw? B, does it need to be a commission to have the bylaw? Like, do you have to have the bylaw to have a commission? Does it need to be a bylaw at all? Because if we decided we wanted a commission, you don't need a bylaw, then why have it in there?
Yeah,
Kind of thing, right? Like,
so I think probably what we should
can we
do,
also make this table not so terrible?
Oh, yeah, you gotta
The
reduce the
revolving.
point size.
It's so horrible.
That
So-
table,
Like something,
that-
change the wording, change something, because it's
plus the
terrible.
type size.
that table's also one of my headaches, unfortunately. So
That's a,
Donna said to remove the annual limits,
Right,
because otherwise you're amending the bylaw every
Agreed.
single year.
right.
But I don't know if we should remove that column entirely, because that column is part of bylaws. So that is another hang up, unfortunately, that I just wasn't able to rectify in time.
Right. And
Um,
I agree with you on that issue, but I was having a meta issue of the table itself is a horror.
yeah,
And putting it in, whatever it takes, putting it in a different thing and importing the finished product, so it like is a readable table that is on one page instead of scrolling over 3 pages and being
Yeah.
unreadable, would matter to people actually trying to use the
Yeah,
table.
right.
Not to mention printing an extra 2 pages we didn't want.
and then the last major question that I think we should work on in the next couple of weeks is, do we want to do we want to agree to do a fine schedule, which I'm all for, but we should just then be clear about it and say, we created a fine schedule for all the reasons there's obvious reasons.
Right.
But I feel like we're in this middle ground between saying, oh, we didn't make any substantive changes, well, really, we made a fine schedule, which isn't a huge deal, but it should be on our list when we finally present it, of say, we did this and here's why.
And I think the only other thing we'd have to decide is whether, and I agree.
Mhm.
We've already said, we're gonna do May, and we're gonna make a change.
Yeah.
I'm all for creating the fine schedule, my only other question is the fine schedule part of the bylaws? Or do we just say that we have a fine schedule and the fine schedule is set by the select board, so it can be changed without meeting?
I think it's part of the bylaws, because
Okay.
stuff in this town just has a tendency to get lost.
The reason I raise that
Yeah,
is that I know what happens in both federal and state law.
Yeah.
Is that dollar value things they get updated too infrequently. And the
Yeah.
result of that is they don't keep pace with reality,
yeah,
right? It's like having a minimum wage of $7 an hour.
yeah,
The federal minimum wage is $7.50. There is no human being that could survive on, I don't know, maybe there's some place in the United States where if you worked 80 hours a week, you could survive on that, but I don't know where that place is, right? That is a ridiculous thing, right? That's why most of the states have different rent, and the reason that happens is it's a big argument every time they bring it up. They say, well, states have, you know what I'm saying? Like here,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be that big an argument, but it's much harder if you have to go through that process every time to keep current with what your fine should be.
I see what you're saying, I do feel like it's probably it's not an every year thing,
No.
so maybe it's once every 10 years,
Maybe 5.
maybe 5 to 10.
Inflation's a real thing.
Yeah, and I'm just afraid if it's not part of the bylaws, it's more likely to get lost.
Oh,
And
I
then
mean,
not
the actual
updated.
number is part of the bylaws, as opposed to the fee schedule.
Well, the fee schedule could be, either an addenda
Right,
or within a section
I
called like,
guess what I meant, like class A, class B, class C, class D.
And
As
then the
defined by the
board-
select board.
Yeah.
It-
I'm
maybe you're
almost
right.
there, but
Maybe you're
it's just like select boards, the more I look at town meeting minutes, the more I see things that town meeting votes on and then the select board forgets, like,
Right, okay,
they voted
Put it
7
in.
years ago.
you convinced me,
Yeah.
put it in.
They voted
I
7
changed my
years ago,
mind.
we don't need to put that one article in the town meeting warrant every year, that we always put
And
in.
we put it in anyway, every year.
Which one is that?
Are we required to by laws or
No,
only by our
It
bylaws?
was a vote in 2018.
Yeah, I saw it in
To
there,
eradicate that bylaw,
yeah, but we still do it. Why?
because
Which
it
one
is,
is that?
there's an article about, boards and committees can appoint members, or one of those weird ones that you just vote on every year, and no one really knows what you're doing.
Right, and every year we have a discussion of why is this in here, do we really have to? And then the lawyer says you have to put it in there, and we're like,
Cause it's
why?
in your bylaws.
It's in your bylaws.
But the problem is, in 2018 or so, they actually voted to remove it from the bylaws, but we don't, I mean, this is the mess, like,
Right.
it's no,
It's still in the bylaws, so is it still in this copy? It's not,
No,
I don't think I
it's
saw it in there,
not.
so it got removed.
it did,
Follow by.
I don't know how, but it did,
No,
like,
they
no,
took it out,
'cause they figured-
yeah,
yeah.
cause they noticed that in 2018 we removed it, so they're like, we're removing it.
so in any case, it will be on the agenda for Tuesday. I think we'll just approach it from everyone brings in their comments.
Okay,
I definitely have a lot of time invested, so I'm happy to do some of the compilation of the edits and the tracking of basically how we'll present it. Our
Okay.
list of additions, subtractions, and changes. So we're just upfront about those and can talk about them.
so one thing that I have found in the past, if you're taking this on, is that, if you were to recreate this table
Mhm.
in Excel,
Mhm.
and then import the finished table, it will mean you can't make changes on the finished table in here, but if you have it in it, you will be able to make this work better.
Yeah.
You'll have a little trouble when you import it,
Yeah.
cause it will try to tweak things.
Yeah, but you can automatically adjust the,
but you
whatever copy.
Word's table thing is the worst.
That's worse.
It's so bad. And Excel will give you, or any of the other, like, I don't care, pages, whatever you use, will give you a lot more flexibility
that.
on crafting that and making it look right.
Mhm.
Adjusting whatever you need to adjust, changing the way, like justifying it, so it
10,
doesn't do this.
Just putting it to 10 font didn't perfect it, but it made it a heck of a lot better.
Yes, I bet it did.
So,
Still, like, especially like when you have that, you have to start asking why you have the column.
the blank one. Yes, well,
Yes.
that's a question I need to answer from that.
And you get rid of the column, then you can make the columns wider and the whole thing comes up. And it's very hard to read when it's one word on a line.
Yeah.
Right? You don't read like that.
Oh, I know.
Well,
You should, I don't know if Dave probably tell you, but when they were counting the number of revolving funds at last Tuesday's meeting, someone was like, well, I got 10, I got 11, I got 9. Because it's so hard.
It's so
So
hard,
it took
yeah.
a couple minutes to even figure out how many there are.
Right.
So, all that being said, we're gonna come back to it next week. I totally agree with, we have momentum, we have everything like that. Let's even keep the informational meeting as long as bylaws are willing to do that. I don't think it will be like here's our final, I don't think it will be a final
Right.
copy, but like
We'll be a lot closer.
a lot closer, and then we can have that meeting. Now, moving on to our town meeting warrants. I'm just
I don't remember having any problems with it.
gonna remove Article 9 then for now.
Yep.
We'll keep that wording for May.
And we had to take it out of the cover letter too.
And take it, but here's the one thing that I thought we might do in the cover letter is because it was fairly public, we were gonna do bylaws.
Right.
Is maybe we write something up quickly,
That's
just
a good idea.
explaining, so I'm gonna delete Article 9, but write something. I'm just thinking of something that we can write, just explaining the bylaw. We are hoping that we will have the bylaw review on in May, but we're working on,
Yeah,
We're working on-
despite
we're gonna have
all
to
of the
meet it.
hard work, we find that there are still, issues that need to be resolved before this can come before town meeting. There will be,
Steps to be taken.
yeah, there will be the hearing, the bylaw committee's public meeting will still be held in November for people to ask questions. And we hope to have a copy available for public comment at that time. We expect it to appear on the May warrant. I mean, we might have to have another hearing before May, but that's okay. Was that too fast?
Yeah, I'm working
That's
on.
fine.
These things are so
You know, it's just fine. I'm gonna go grab that.
Oh, yeah, you get this one.
Okay.
I think I might even keep a bit of what Stuart wrote.
I was even
Um,
thinking you should keep most of it, I was adding.
Yeah, there's parts that just don't make sense if it's not,
Right,
if we don't have it, but we can read through it.
well, the changes that were made include still works. There's just, we might have to,
Well,
we're gonna have
I'm
to
gonna
delete other things.
I think I'm gonna refrain from doing that because
Okay.
ultimately we're going to remove defunct, outdated bylaws that just personnel committee, I don't think anyone in town thinks that the way to solve our
Well,
personnel,
personnel policies were removed from this document.
yeah,
There is that.
but
Right,
the
your
personnel committee,
Right,
which was a separate thing, which wasn't removed
Right.
yet, but I think what we could say is, well, here, I'll just read this.
the first three make sense, and the last one makes sense.
We had hoped to have the bylaw review proposal on this special town meeting warrant, but despite our best efforts and the diligent efforts of the bylaw review committee, we have to defer this to the annual town meeting in May. The bylaw review committee was formed, I don't know if we should have this part in there, but the bylaw review committee was formed by a vote at the town meeting on June 12th, 2021. Members were nominated and duly appointed. The committee first met on December 9th, 2021. The committee worked to aggregate, organize, update language, and correct typos to create a single bylaw document that was complete, consistently presented, clear, and readable. I'm gonna get rid of the
No,
thing about
no
notes.
changes, yeah.
Several articles included in the source documents were in fact not bylaws, but adoptions of MGL, which is written out. Our work product is a consolidated version of the bylaws included in the warrant for review.
Maybe it should be their work product,
Yeah.
since it's not his letter anymore.
The resource documents, they were included the website listing of bylaws, the last printed town bylaws from 2006, and the town administrator's working copy of bylaws. Each source document varied from the others. The select board will work over the next few months to finalize the document and have it ready for May town meeting.
Yes.
The committee will still hold an open public information session on Saturday, October 26th, 1:33 p.m. in the Monterey Library, at which questions and comments
Will be
will
welcome,
be welcome.
yeah. And then delete the last sentence.
Yeah.
Or well, I guess,
At
the
which
one, the
questions and
bylaw
comments on the working
document.
document.
And then the bylaw review committee recommends should go.
Sorry, I deleted that and didn't say
Okay,
it.
yeah, that's fine.
I'm just gonna read through it again before
Go.
we go and print it. We had hoped to have the bylaw review proposal on this special town meeting warrant, but despite our best efforts and the diligent efforts of the bylaw review committee, we have to defer this to the annual town meeting in May. The bylaw review committee was formed by a vote at the town meeting on June 12, 2021. Members who were nominated duly appointed. The committee first met on December 9, 2021. The committee worked to aggregate, organize, update language, and correct typos to create a single bylaw document that was complete, consistently presented, clear, and readable. Several articles, including the source documents, were in fact not bylaws but adoptions of MGL. The work product is the consolidated version of the bylaws not included in the warrant.
Oh, yeah. Just, yeah, but
So
bylaw.
maybe that sentence goes, or yeah, maybe it just ends after bylaws.
Yeah.
3 source documents they worked from included the montereyma.gov website listing of the bylaws, the last printed town bylaws from 2006, and the town administrator's working copy of the bylaws. Each source document varied from the others.
Tracking these changes was not possible, they probably still want to keep that.
I can add it in.
Yeah.
Tracking,
These changes was not possible due to the disparate sources. Comma, or semicolon, however, comma, all 3 original source documents are available on the town website.
and by the way, I already put all the documents up for the warrant, including the bylaws, so they're up on the select board webpage on something that says 11/2/24.
Which bylaws did you put up there? The one
All
that we
3.
just talked about? Oh, those 3,
Yeah,
the originals.
I haven't
not
put the working
Yeah, document.
document, but
That works.
the select board will work over the next few months to finalize the document and have it ready for May annual town meeting.
It would be, I think, really smart if we can, so the meeting is a week from Saturday.
Right.
If we meet next week and try and make our tweaks, then we could A, post that on the website, and B, distribute those copies to the bylaw review committee with
Yeah.
our changes.
Yeah.
So that they'll be well prepared, and maybe we need to have a little annotation of the changes we made,
Yeah,
so that they'll be well prepared for that meeting on Saturday, should anybody show. I think some people will.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So we'll meet next Tuesday, at which point we'll create our own document and distribute it out, and that can be used for the
Change next
public
time, the
information
policy.
session. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Because also it'd be great to have people in to say like, ooh, you missed this, or ooh.
I know, they may find things we
Uh,
didn't find, we found things they didn't find.
Have another set of eyes, doesn't hurt.
It really doesn't.
Let's see, so the cover letter is just 2 pages, but I think that's 8.5 by 11, so it's gonna be front and a little bit back of a bigger one.
That's
I
okay.
don't think it's gonna make it one big one.
Oh,
This cover letter.
As opposed to 8.5 by 11. Yeah, you can.
Well, no, we'll make it the
same
big one,
size
like
paper,
the warrant,
yeah.
but
You don't
I
think it'll
just,
fit on one?
on one big
But
one.
on the legal size, it might,
Just change the face format on.
or just tweak I bet if you tweak the
But do you think a
margin-
full 8.5 by 11 is even close to a big? Or
not
back
8.5 by
from
11,
that?
the 8 by 14.
Yeah.
Right,
But it leaves that much on the back of the page there.
with the 8 by 14?
Yeah, it leaves this much. So it's probably just gonna be some front and back.
1, 2, 3, yeah, you're not gonna get it.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be front and back, okay, whatever.
What's the top and bottom margin?
We're not even
It's
close.
You're not even
We're not even
close.
close.
It's
If
like,
we were close,
it's close to half of the 14-inch page,
Yeah.
so you're not gonna get that. There's like 3 or 4 lines you might be able to get rid of, but no, it's not gonna. It's a lot of work. Okay,
But the warrant's only like 3 pages anyway, right? Like that, 2 pages maybe?
just got a lot shorter.
unless we had that, unless we had this on there, then it might be very big.
90,000% sure.
Yeah, a lot, okay.
So, let's look at the warrant. The only thing that I'm changing on the warrant is Articles 9 is gone, but I changed the date to 17th of October, that's when we're signing it. And I'm just gonna look at the copies of the documents that we're promising, which I believe are good. A copy of the contract and relevant supporting documents are available on the town website and at the town clerk's office. They are already on the town website, we just take them to the town clerk. Copies of relevant supporting documents are available on the town website and at the town clerk's office. Those are both good, and
And we removed 9.
we removed 9. Alright,
Send it to me.
I think we'll call a quick vote to approve the special town meeting warrant as amended.
Second,
Is there any other discussion?
No.
We'll call a vote,
yes.
Yes,
and yes, so that's approved, and I think we'll adjourn and then just sign it.
Yep,
Mm,
that works.
Send it to me and I'll print it.
So I'll
Well
move
done,
that
guys.
we adjourn,
Second,
we'll call a vote,
yes.
yes, and
it's
Susan
not mine, you voted.
voting on it.
Yes.
Alright, meeting adjourned at 12:45.